It was supposed to be a routine interview on one of the nation's top news networks, but what unfolded was anything but ordinary. Speaker Nancy Pelosi was halfway through answering a question about the state of bipartisan negotiations when former President Donald Trump unexpectedly walked into the studio, creating a scene that left both the host and audience stunned. Pelosi, known for her composure, barely missed a beat as Trump strode onto the set uninvited. "I wasn't aware you were scheduled to join us, Mr. Trump," she said, her tone laced with restrained irritation. Trump, unfazed, waved dismissively and pointed at her. "I'm here because I couldn't let you get away with your lies," he said, his voice booming. The host attempted to regain control, but the situation quickly spiraled. Pelosi turned toward Trump, her expression icy. "This isn't your platform, Mr. Trump. The people want answers, not distractions." But Trump wasn't backing down. "Answers? From you? You're a total disaster, Nancy," he shot back. "You've done nothing but fail the American people." The tension in the studio was palpable as Pelosi fired back. "Fail? Coming from the man who left the country in chaos," she snapped. The back and forth quickly escalated, with both politicians talking over each other as the host desperately tried to restore order. Viewers at home were left in shock as the confrontation unfolded live on air. Social media erupted with clips of the exchange, with hashtags like #Trump vs. Pelosi and #DisasterDebate trending within minutes. Some hailed Trump for his audacity, while others praised Pelosi for standing her ground. The network scrambled to address the chaos. A spokesperson later claimed that Trump's appearance was not planned and that security protocols were being reviewed. Behind the scenes, producers were reportedly in a frenzy, trying to decide whether to cut the feed or let the drama continue. Back on the set, the clash showed no signs of stopping. "Your policies have destroyed small businesses and driven this country into debt," Trump bellowed. Pelosi shot back, "Your administration was the most corrupt in history, and now you're here trying to rewrite it." As the shouting match continued, analysts began speculating about the potential fallout. "This kind of confrontation is unprecedented," one commentator remarked during a live broadcast. "It shows just how divided our political system has become." In the hours that followed, both Trump and Pelosi doubled down on their remarks. Trump took to social media, calling the speaker incompetent and accusing her of running the House like a dictatorship. Pelosi, in a press release, described Trump's behavior as juvenile and indicative of his lack of respect for democracy. Political strategists from both sides quickly seized on the incident. Pro-Trump PACs began fundraising off the confrontation, framing it as proof that Trump was still the dominant voice in American politics. Meanwhile, Democratic operatives used the clash to rally their base, portraying Pelosi as a defender of truth against Trump's bullying. Late-night talk shows had a field day with the incident. One host quipped, "Trump and Pelosi on live TV? It's like Thanksgiving dinner if your relatives were running the country." The audience roared with laughter, but the underlying tension of the event was no laughing matter. As the story continued to dominate headlines, experts debated whether the spectacle would have any lasting impact on public opinion. "This wasn't a debate, it was a train wreck," one political scientist said. But in today's polarized climate, both sides will claim victory. Despite the chaos, Trump supporters rallied around him, praising his unfiltered style and his willingness to confront Pelosi directly. "He says what we're all thinking," one attendee at a Trump rally in Florida said. "Pelosi is out of touch, and he called her out." Pelosi's allies, however, painted a different picture. "This was a blatant act of disrespect," one Democratic strategist argued. "It shows how Trump continues to undermine democratic norms." The confrontation also reignited speculation about Trump's potential plans for 2024. Was this a calculated move to stay in the spotlight, or a genuine moment of frustration? Political analysts were divided, but one thing was clear: Trump's unpredictability remained his most powerful weapon. For Pelosi, the incident added another chapter to her storied career. In a post-interview statement, she emphasized her commitment to fighting for the American people. "I won't let antics like today distract me from my work," she said. As the days passed, the incident became a cultural flashpoint. Memes flooded the internet, with one particularly viral image showing Pelosi glaring at Trump with a caption, "When you can't even have a peaceful interview." Critics questioned the network's handling of the situation, with some accusing them of prioritizing ratings over decorum. "This was a circus," one media critic wrote. And the network was happy to sell tickets. Despite the chaos, The clash seemed to energize both politicians' bases. Pelosi's fundraising numbers saw a sharp spike, while Trump's rallies drew even larger crowds. The incident, while chaotic, reinforced their roles as two of the most polarizing figures in American politics. Whether the confrontation would have any tangible impact on policy remained uncertain. But one thing was clear: the drama had captivated the nation, further cementing the divide between Trump's fervent supporters and Pelosi's dedicated backers. For now, the nation remains transfixed by the spectacle, waiting to see how the next chapter of the Trump-Pelosi saga unfolds. As the fallout from the live interview clash between Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi continued to dominate headlines, the incident's broader implications began to take shape. Pundits, politicians, and voters alike dissected every moment of the exchange, turning it into the latest battleground in America's culture war. In Washington, D.C., the confrontation became the talk of the town. Lawmakers from both parties were forced to weigh in on the drama. Republican leaders defended Trump's actions, framing his unannounced appearance as a bold move to challenge Pelosi's narrative. "He told the truth," said Senator Josh Hawley. "Pelosi's policies are a disaster, and she couldn't handle the heat." Democrats, meanwhile, closed ranks around Pelosi, with Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez calling Trump's behavior childish and a perfect example of why he should never hold office again. She added, "This wasn't just disrespectful, it was a calculated attempt to hijack the truth." The media frenzy surrounding the confrontation only intensified. Conservative networks praised Trump's direct approach, running clips of his fiery comments on a loop. Liberal outlets, on the other hand, criticized him for ambushing Pelosi and disrupting what was supposed to be a thoughtful discussion. Political analysts debated the incident's impact on both figures' legacies. "This moment will define the ongoing rivalry between Trump and Pelosi," one commentator noted. "It's a microcosm of the larger battle for America's political soul." Public reaction to the clash was equally polarized. Trump supporters lauded his audacity, flooding social media with messages like, "Trump tells it like it is," and "Pelosi can't handle the truth." Progressives, however, rallied behind Pelosi, praising her poise under pressure. "She stood up to his bullying," one supporter tweeted. "That's leadership." The incident quickly became a meme factory. One particularly viral meme showed Trump pointing at Pelosi with the caption, "Total disaster." Another featured Pelosi's calm yet stern expression with the tagline, "Still standing after the storm." Amid the chaos, fundraising numbers for both politicians surged. Trump's campaign reported a record-breaking haul within 48 hours of the interview, as supporters donated to show their approval of his actions. Pelosi's camp saw a similar spike, with grassroots donors praising her composure during the confrontation. The clash also reignited discussions about the future of American political discourse. Editorials in major newspapers called for a return to civility, arguing that incidents like this only deepen divisions. "We need leaders who can rise above the chaos, not contribute to it," one op-ed read. Late-night talk shows continued to milk the drama for laughs. One host joked, "Trump and Pelosi on live TV? Who needs reality shows when you have Congress?" Another quipped, "This wasn't an interview, it was WrestleMania with a political twist." Behind closed doors, both camps began strategizing their next moves. Trump's advisors reportedly saw the incident as a win, urging him to capitalize on the momentum by scheduling more public appearances. Pelosi's team, meanwhile, focused on turning the moment into a rallying cry for Democrats heading into the next election cycle. The confrontation also had ripple effects on Capitol Hill. Several lawmakers noted an increase in tensions during debates and hearings, with partisan clashes becoming even more frequent and intense. "It feels like everyone's on edge," one staffer admitted. Internationally, the incident drew mixed reactions. European media portrayed it as a symptom of America's deep political dysfunction, while conservative outlets in countries like Brazil and Hungary praised Trump's strongman tactics. The cultural impact of the clash was undeniable. Artists began creating works inspired by the event, from political cartoons to satirical videos. One particularly popular short film reimagined the confrontation as a boxing match, complete with exaggerated sound effects and commentary. Despite the chaos, some voices sought to find silver linings in the incident. "At least it got people talking about the issues," one political scientist observed. "Even if the delivery was messy, the underlying debates about policy and leadership are important." Trump, never one to shy away from controversy, continued to fan the flames. At a rally in Pennsylvania, he doubled down on his remarks, telling the crowd, Pelosi is the problem with this country. She's incompetent, corrupt, and out of touch. The crowd roared in approval, chanting, "Lock her up." Pelosi, in contrast, struck a more measured tone during a speech in California. "I won't be distracted by theatrics," she said. "The American people deserve better than this circus. My focus remains on delivering results." The clash also became a key talking point for candidates across the political spectrum. Progressive Democrats used it as an example of the stakes in the fight against Trumpism, while Republican hopefuls framed it as proof of Trump's enduring influence. As the dust began to settle, polls revealed a predictable split. Trump's approval rating among Republicans ticked upward, while Pelosi's favorability soared among Democrats. Independents, however, appeared frustrated by the spectacle, with many expressing a desire for new leaders. Historians began analyzing the incident as part of a broader trend in American politics. This wasn't just a moment, it was a reflection of how far we've drifted from constructive dialogue, one historian noted. The live interview clash also inspired calls for reforms in media coverage of politics. Critics argued that the sensational nature of the incident highlighted the need for stricter guidelines to prevent disruptions and maintain decorum. As the weeks passed, both Trump and Pelosi moved on to other battles, but the memory of their explosive confrontation lingered. For many, it became a symbol of the stark divisions in American society and the challenges of finding common ground. As weeks turned into months, the Trump-Pelosi clash became a permanent fixture in the political discourse. Cable news networks aired reruns of the heated exchange, with commentators dissecting every gesture and inflection as though it were a historic debate. This moment encapsulates everything wrong, and everything fascinating, about modern politics, one analyst remarked during a primetime segment. Meanwhile, the fallout from the confrontation began to manifest in unexpected ways. Congressional hearings became even more contentious, with lawmakers from both parties using the incident as a reference point to justify their behavior. "If Pelosi and Trump can yell at each other on live TV, why should we hold back?" quipped one Republican senator during a particularly heated exchange. Trump, reveling in the attention, ramped up his attacks on Pelosi during his rallies. "She's the face of everything broken in Washington," he told a cheering crowd in Ohio. "And I'm the guy who's going to fix it, again." The crowd erupted into chants of "Drain the swamp" and "Lock her up." Pelosi, meanwhile, leaned into her reputation as a seasoned politician unfazed by theatrics. During a town hall in San Francisco, she addressed the clash directly. "Theatrics might win headlines," she said, "but real leadership happens in the quiet moments when the cameras aren't rolling." Her audience responded with a standing ovation. The confrontation also became fodder for late-night comedy. One sketch imagined a rematch between Trump and Pelosi in a boxing ring, complete with absurd commentary and exaggerated punches. While many viewers laughed, others noted how deeply the moment had ingrained itself into the nation's collective psyche. Activists on both sides of the political spectrum seized on the incident to galvanize their movements. Progressive groups held rallies to support Pelosi's stance on legislative priorities, while conservative organizations used Trump's boldness as a rallying cry for the upcoming elections. "This is what leadership looks like," read a sign at a pro-Trump rally in Florida. The incident even made its way into classrooms, with teachers using it as a case study on political communication. Students debated whether the confrontation was an example of democracy in action or a symptom of its decline. "It's messy," one student remarked, "but it's also kind of fascinating." As the 2024 elections loomed, candidates from both parties began referencing the Trump-Pelosi clash in their campaigns. For some, it was a cautionary tale about the dangers of division. For others, it was a symbol of authenticity in an era of scripted soundbites. In the media, opinion pieces proliferated. Some criticized the news network for allowing such an incident to occur, calling for stricter controls during live broadcasts. Others argued that the confrontation was a necessary wake-up call, exposing the raw emotions behind America's political divide. Trump, never one to shy away from a feud, hinted that his interruption was no accident. "I wasn't going to let her sit there and lie to the American people," he said during a televised interview. "Someone had to step up, and that someone was me." Pelosi's team countered by releasing a video montage of her legislative achievements, contrasting her work with Trump's rhetoric. The ad ended with the tagline, "Results over chaos. Leadership over division." It quickly went viral among Democratic circles. The clash even sparked debates within the Republican Party. Some members praised Trump's directness, while others worried that his behavior risked alienating moderate voters. "We need his energy," one GOP strategist said, but we also need to be careful about the optics. Within the Democratic Party, Pelosi faced both praise and criticism. Younger progressives viewed her as a steady hand in the face of Trump's aggression, while some moderates worried that the clash had distracted from key legislative priorities. We need unity, not more fuel for the fire, one Democratic senator said. Internationally, the incident drew mixed reactions. European leaders expressed concern about the state of American democracy, while authoritarian regimes used the clash as propaganda, portraying it as evidence of Western dysfunction. Artists and writers began creating works inspired by the confrontation. A best-selling novel loosely based on the event explored themes of power, resilience, and public perception, while a popular podcast dissected the cultural implications of the clash. As the incident faded from the daily news cycle, its long-term impact became clear. Trump and Pelosi's rivalry had become a defining feature of the political landscape, shaping public opinion and influencing the strategies of other politicians. In Washington, the tension between the two camps remained palpable. Meetings between Republicans and Democrats grew increasingly rare, with lawmakers citing the Trump-Pelosi clash as a symbol of irreconcilable differences. It's hard to find common ground when even our leaders are at each other's throats, one lawmaker lamented. The legacy of the clash also raised questions about the role of media in modern politics. Some argued that the incident highlighted the dangers of sensationalism, while others saw it as a testament to the power of live television to capture authentic moments. For Trump, the clash solidified his status as a disruptor. At rallies and interviews, he continued to reference the incident, using it as proof of his willingness to challenge the establishment. They said I was out of line, he told supporters. But I was just telling the truth. Pelosi, in contrast, used the moment to emphasize her commitment to governing. I don't have time for distractions, she said during a press conference. There's too much work to be done for the American people. As new controversies emerged and the news cycle moved on, the Trump-Pelosi clash remained a touchstone for debates about leadership, civility, and the future of American democracy. It was a moment that captured the nation's attention and refused to let go. Even years later, the confrontation was cited in history books and documentaries as a turning point in the Trump-Pelosi rivalry. Analysts argued that it symbolized the broader cultural and political shifts of the era, a moment when the personal and the political became inseparable.